love small communities, small rural communities. I also learned that our roots are so important to us. You don't find that a lot. Family. We was raised to think blood is thicker than water. That's East Kentucky. That's small rural towns. And it was just a wonderful, magical place to grow up.
In retrospect, it was an idyllic childhood. Wasn't luxurious. It was just an idyllic childhood. And it wasn't affluent by any stretch of the imagination, but it was perfect. I was a lost ball in the high weeds, but somehow or the other, I had figured out I wanted to be an engineer. Now, I knew that a doctor was the best profession you could have, and I had grades that I could probably done that, but that was like 8 years, and I knew I wasn't going to have enough money to go to college for 8 years. Then a lawyer was the second best profession, and you could do that in 6 years, and I couldn't stay 6 years. And fourth, and the engineering you could do in 4 years. So that's, I think, the reason I came to be a mechanical engineer. And I was in the coal business for 20 years, and there were 2 good years. But they were pretty good years, though, I'll tell you that. But I worked at manual labor. I had an engineering degree, but I worked at manual labor and dug ditches and cleaned coal cars and loaded coal cars and worked underground. And I worked. Engineering was a good education for the first 10 years because coal mining is a great deal of materials handling, and as an engineer I knew how to do that. The last 10 years I'd have been better off if I had a business degree, but I didn't know that, so I did okay. I'm not complaining. What I'm most proud of is I think I was a good, effective governor. Wasn't flamboyant, didn't, wasn't a movie star or anything. But I think I was the most prepared to be governor as anybody in recent history, with the possible exception of Wendell Ford and Judi and Carol. Because I had been in business. I learned efficiency. I think efficient even today because I had to in business. But then I got into government as county judge, and I realized how much different that government was than business. And government is much more complicated than business. You know, when I was in business, I just made some big decisions, and I could take off anytime I wanted to. In government, you got to do it 24/7. It's got you've always got more you can do, more people you can talk to. But I really knew the legislators, and that was very important. And I've been Secretary of the Economic Development Cabinet for 16 months. I knew the bureaucracy. I knew how government worked. I knew how it did work. I knew how the legislature worked. I was as prepared, I think, as you could be to be governor, and having never had the job before.
I am Mama's legacy. I wanted people to remember that she molded me. She made me what I am today. I'm terrified of public speaking. You all wouldn't believe the first time I had testified, I threw up before, I threw up afterwards. I was shaking like a leaf, but you know what? I had a passion for it. I want it done so bad for these women and children. I want it to be their voice. I always say children have small voices, which are never heard. We must be their voices for them. And also with the domestic violence. These women's voices have been took away from them. They had no voice. We as a society must step in and be their voice and be their protectors. And especially children, let's give their childhoods back to them.
Don't be afraid of failure. If you've never failed at anything, you've never tried anything really important. Now, you're supposed to win more than you lose, and I won more than I lost, but I failed at business. I made wrong business decisions. I made wrong political decisions. But the majority of the things, I would learn enough to do what was right, and I had a lot of good fortune too.
I have a deeper love for people. I want them to think I'm really a nice person, and that I come from good stock. Well, we all from East Kentucky. We all come from good stock. Come on. And I don't know. Just that maybe I was a voice, a strong voice, and we need more people to be voices for so many other people.
I've just had a blessed life. I'm an optimist. My mother was an optimist. I had great parents. That's the root of my success was my parents. My father was a one-room school teacher before he became a surveyor. And my mother was a lunchroom cook when we finally got a lunchroom in my grade school. My grade school didn't have electricity till I was in the 7th grade. We had a coal stove, and we had a 4-room grade school. But I've had an idyllic life. If the good Lord says, come on in tomorrow, I'll have to go, because I just can't find anything to complain about.